Before we get into college hoops, we go back to the association last night. Marquee matchup in the Eastern Conference between the two top teams of the standings right now, but there is a very large gap between those top two. An 11-game advantage now for the Celtics for that number one seed in the Eastern Conference. It wasn't easy down the stretch, but the C's do win at home for the 32nd time in 35 games this year. Boston over Milwaukee, 122-119. No Giannis Antetokounmpo for the Bucks. They were down by 18 entering the fourth and final quarter. They rally at the end behind 32 points from Damian Lillard. Milwaukee does cover as a 10.5-point underdog, but the Celtics have now won 7 straight, adding on to yet another win streak.
Yeah, Lillard started out real slow in that basketball game yesterday, too. So it was like, oh, no, is it going to be one of those blowout games where he doesn't even need to play like in the late third quarter? Wasn't the case, as he finished 11 of 21 from the field, which included 6 of 10 from three-point range for that 32 points that you brought up here. It was a good performance overall because the handicap yesterday was we thought the Celtics would win the game. But again, getting double digits here and how effective Boston was going to be, we would have found out. Because last time we saw the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis Antetokounmpo, they played fairly well. Why? Because Damian Lillard was good. So that was the banking yesterday. Even as I was breaking it down, Ben, saying, look, if you don't want to take the Milwaukee Bucks with the 10.5 points, just take Damian Lillard. You know he's going to have an honest effort, and he did, scoring over 30 points in that game. He even hit that late three-point shot to get it down from 6-3, which, again, was basically the game over as Tatum just flipped the ball up in the air as the horn sounded. But I think we nailed that one yesterday, taking the points with the Bucks, getting a good effort, but the Celtics still winning that game, and Damian Lillard to have a good game. That was a pretty good handicap all the way around for us.
It was going to be a very tough climb for Milwaukee, indicated in that point spread. To beat Boston outright inside TD Garden has only happened 3 times in 35 games. The Celtics have been booked as a home favorite in all 35 this year in Beantown, now 20-15 against the spread. The Bucks were not a good underdog team, but they have started to cover more and more as an underdog, at least here since the All-Star break. 9-4 straight up in their overall record since that All-Star break in Indianapolis. 5-7 now against the spread as an underdog. Had only 2 covers, did Milwaukee, in the opening half of this 2023-24 NBA campaign. But again, despite that being a matchup, Donnie, of the 1 versus 2 in the Eastern Conference, the 2 teams with the shortest prices to win the Eastern Conference, there is a separation. There is a distinction right now between Boston and everybody else in the East. 55-14, the record for the Celtics. Nobody else in the NBA has reached the 50-win benchmark, and Boston's got 55. And you see that price to win an Eastern Conference crown, minus 140. Already heftily into minus money before even the end of the regular season. Not that it really was ever in doubt, but the Celtics, with the win last night, do clinch their division.
Yeah, priced out of the market right now. You shouldn't be taking the Celtics on any future wagers at this point right now at those low numbers because, again, if it was 10-1 or 15-1, absolutely. But we know how it plays out. One key injury can derail your entire season. And if you're looking at that plus 220 price to win an NBA championship, which means they have to get all the way through the East and then face, let's just say, the Denver Nuggets in the finals, that's a ridiculously low price right now, and I wouldn't be touching it. However, saying that in the Eastern Conference now, just look at that matchup from last night. We know Giannis did not play. The Boston Celtics improved to 32-3 on their home court. It feels like those Larry Bird days in the 1980s where nobody could beat them at the Boston Garden. But on the flip side, you take a look at Milwaukee, solid record of 44-25, Ben. But look at that away number, 17-18. Man, Boston is so good as a team and so good at home. It's just going to be really tough to knock them off because that theory again goes, Boston doesn't even have to win a game on the road probably throughout the Eastern Conference, and they still make the finals because they're not losing on their home court.
And as of right now, they would have home floor advantage in the NBA Finals because they have 7 more wins than anybody else in the NBA. That includes the top teams in the Western Conference like OKC and Denver. If you look at the odds for the Eastern Conference Championship right now, it's already what the series price would probably be. The Celtics minus 140, Milwaukee plus 280. Those numbers would get a little bit closer in terms of if it was just those 2 teams remaining, of course. But after Milwaukee, the Knicks have the 3rd best number at 11-1. The Cavaliers, who currently sit in 3rd in the standings, have the 4th best price at 12-1. Cleveland trying to hold on to that 3rd place spot in the Eastern Conference, as even as a 2-point home favorite last night, market working the way of the Cavaliers Miami goes on the road to the Land and wins outright 107-104. Again, the Heat booked as a 2-point road underdog, a total that was very minimal. 206.5 doesn't sky over, but does go over last night in Cleveland.
I'll tell you, like lining this game up yesterday, and as we were saying, the handicap for me was very simple. If Jimmy Butler plays, I'm going to take the Miami Heat because I know you're going to be missing Donovan Mitchell over on Cleveland's side. Having said that, looking at the final box score and the starting lineup for the Heat last night, Jovic, Butler, Bryant, Mills, and Rozier, and they went on the road and got a victory here. So, yes, in theory, Jimmy Butler did play, but I expected maybe a little bit more of a supporting cast to help him on the road, but didn't need that last night. 30 points out of Butler, 24 out of Rozier. That's sort of that zombie Heat lineup minus a couple superstars and still gets the job done yesterday. That's pretty impressive. So I didn't expect that to happen again. Better to be lucky than good sometimes. So yes, Jimmy Butler did play and they did win, but that doesn't tell the whole story there. But we got a W out of it.
Game high 30 points for Jimmy Butler. If he's going to play his best basketball, this is the right time to do so. But he's dealt with a couple of nagging injuries here as of late. Miami truly hasn't been healthy. Bam Adebayo out last night. Tyler Hero has missed some time here down the stretch. Same story for Cleveland. No Donovan Mitchell, no Evan Mobley. Jared Allen had 25 in 20, 25 points and 20 boards, but Cleveland ultimately comes up short, even booked as a 2-point home favorite. Again, a small total last night, an over-under of just 206.5. That does go over. The Heat still under in 14 of its last 18 games, something to pay attention to. A couple of lines that did make sense last night, DRS, like what we saw out in Phoenix. The Suns closed as a 9-point favorite against the shorthanded Philadelphia 76ers. The Suns finally need to start stacking up some victories. It has not been an easy slate for Phoenix by any stretch in this home stretch since the All-Star break, but the line was correct last night in the Valley. The Suns knock off the Sixers by 13, 115-102. Phoenix covers as a 9-point home favorite.
Yeah, and the Sixers even scored 36 points in the fourth quarter and won that quarter by 11 points and still didn't even come away with the cover there as you see the 13-point win. The handicap yesterday for me was the Philadelphia 76ers don't have much gas in the tank right now. They're leaning on, hey, Maxey, if you can give us 35 a night, we might be able to hang around. You know what Maxey did last night? 29 minutes, 3 of 13 from the floor, 0 of 4 from the three-point line, and didn't even get to the free throw line, only scoring 6 total points. So you knew it was going to be in the bag. But when you take a look at Phoenix, what were we saying, Ben? Hey, let's get the big three out on the court, which they were there. Durant gave you 22, Booker gave you 18, and Beal gave you 3. If you would have told me that, I'd say, you know what? The Philadelphia 76ers might be in this game, but here's Grayson Allen, the new big three, 9 of 15 from the three-point line for 32 points here. But the handicap yesterday was there's no way Phoenix should not win this game by double digits, and they did, got the winning cover. So the two NBA guys here on the network, it's the early line. We're nailing all of these people.
The two premier NBA handicappers that you could ever hope to have. But DRS, you made the point, the new big three, we might have to recorrelate what the actual big three is in Phoenix, not just because of availability, but when even they're out there, Grayson Allen continues to go off. Now a sharpshooter, 9 threes last night, a game high 32 points. The Sixers had 4 guys off the bench score in double figures. Only Tyrese Maxey with 18 was the guy to score in double figures in the starting lineup. Philly, by the way, now an underdog in 14 of their last 21 games. They're both 5-9 straight up and against the spread. Phoenix entered last night third worst cover team in the association. Only the Hornets and the Hawks worse at covering numbers. Now 27, 40, and 2 for the Suns against the number. Golden State, an 11.5-point favorite at home last night over the Memphis Grizzlies, and another number that was proven to be correct. Golden State wins by 21, 137-116 over a Grizz team that does not have Ja Morant, that does not have many of the pieces it expected to this year. They've been covering numbers. They entered last night covering in 3 of their last 4, not in San Francisco. Golden State wins big, 21 points.
Yeah, pull the tapes from yesterday, man, saying, hey, Golden State, what do you think they can do? They're laying double digits. I thought they would smash the Grizzlies, and they did by 21 points here. And also keep in mind, you take a look at some of these box scores. Like Steph Curry had 14 points in this game, and they still scored 137.
Yeah.
The one thing that we do know heading down the stretch, which is a synonym for all of sports here, Ben, You take a look at teams that don't care about winning basketball games versus teams that absolutely need to win basketball games, and that's going to play out down the stretch. The Grizzlies don't care if they won that game.
Yeah.
They're looking for the lottery and the ping pong balls all the way out that long travel to Golden State. They got hammered, and rightfully so. We thought they would win by double digits, and they did easily yesterday. So good win for the Golden State Warriors.
One of the bright spots for Memphis, G.G. Jackson, a very interesting college career, was the top overall recruit, supposed to go to North Carolina, reclassified, played 1 year at South Carolina, still very young, but 35 points last night to lead all scorers. He hit 7 triples. When you go to Golden State side, Steph, for a 5th consecutive season, reaches 300 threes, but it was Jonathan Kuminga. 12 of 17 in that starting lineup, 26 points. And then you had the Dubs off the bench with Klay Thompson, Chris Paul, and Trace Jackson Davis. They all combined for 48 bench points. A big victory for Golden State. Again, they cover as an 11.5-point home favorite. Quickly, let's look at the Western Conference standings. Sacramento in that 6th spot, out of the play-in tournament. Half-game advantage over the Dallas Mavericks. The Suns right there as well. The Lakers and the Dubs pretty firmly in that 9-10 split.